Check, 1, 2. What's up with y'all? Y'all already know it's your boy 215 Guy Beats, aka Streets, aka you already know this. Producer's new favorite podcast. Let me rap with you. This episode is a fan appreciation episode. This episode really isn't no topic, not really anything specific. This is just more so a thank you to everybody that's been tuning in, everybody that's been hanging on. This is our 5th episode. We 5 episodes in. You know, everybody tuning in, whether it's 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, don't matter how many people. Like, you know, we're just grateful for anybody tuning in. You know, even if it's just one person willing to listen to my ass for 2 hours or 45 minutes or whatever episodes, how many minutes they are, you know. So, you know, I'm very grateful, you know, for everybody, you know, definitely the guests, Poppy, Bluff, Phils and company. You know, y'all all made the first couple episodes lit for this podcast, and, you know, I'm definitely grateful to have you guys, you know, definitely come to the show and, you know, just, you know, bless us with gems. You know, bless me with gems, because it's a lot that, you know, that I still don't know in this industry. You know, just because I'm doing the podcast and I'm speaking from the voice that I'm speaking from doesn't mean that I know everything. That's why, you know, we partly do this, so we can learn from, you know, all ends and that type thing. So, you know, but besides that, you know, it's all love. You know, kind of like the hoodie I'm wearing. But speaking of that, you know, this podcast is, you know, sponsored by LMRWY. You know, think you dripping. You ain't dripping till you come shop with us. You know, make sure you go get your clothes at LMRWY. You know, get at my guy Smash 215. You know, LMRWY shop on Instagram, DEMOLIR shop. You know, no score, no none of that. You know, also, you know, this podcast is sponsored by Major Loops. You know, looking for some placement worthy sounds, loops, 808s, drums, construction kits, sample packs, you name it. You know, Major Loops. You know, we got all that. You know, whatever you need. Great beats for wonderful prices. Probably one factor that I haven't put out in the last couple episodes, that these kits are high end with crazy prices that you wouldn't even think of paying. Like, I'm paying that for this. Feel me? Shout out my guy Roy Lux. You know, he making everything lit. And also, you know, I haven't announced this on any of the stories, on any of the Instagrams or Twitters. The only thing I did was put it in my bio post for the podcast Instagram. So if there was anybody that was paying attention, then you will see that I have added a sponsor to, you know, the bio, because from here on out, and you know we're gonna be talking about that, you know, in a couple minutes. This podcast will also be sponsored by No Rival Shop. You know, No Rivals Clothing. You know, shout out my guy Mine. You know, we just got done, you know, working out, you know, a little situation, you know, with Let Me Rap With You and, you know, No Rival. So, you know, we definitely got a lot going on in the works that, you know, I'm not going to give too much information, but, you know, definitely shout out my guys at No Rival. You know, make sure, you know, you go check them out on Instagram at No Rival Shop. You know, got some crazy gear. You know, my guy Mine, he working every day. He always on his lives and everything, like, just, you know, making some new gear. I actually got to cop some new gear myself. But you know, definitely shout out to No Rivals. They will definitely be playing a part in the sponsors from here on out for the podcast for every episode. So, you know, we'll be getting more into that, you know, within each episode. So, but back to, you know, the topic and all that, and, you know, actually at the same time, we actually gonna be doing 2 things at once. Because of the guest episode tonight, you know, I actually just had to come straight into the office as soon as I hopped out the shower, came from work and all that. So, you know, I ain't even get a chance for, you know, the situation and all that. You know, you mean? Ain't even get a chance to do none of that. So, you know, we're gonna be handling all that while we doing this episode. But one thing that I'm gonna talk about, you know, with the special guest tonight, and also shouts out to him, About to tell him that, you know, we'll be doing it in about 10 minutes. And but yeah, he had asked me when I had, told him that I wanted him to be on the next episode. He had actually asked me. He said, "Why'd you want me on the episode? Everybody else that you got on the podcast so far are very creditable," which yes, they are. Bluff, Poppy, Phils, and definitely YK. You know, definitely all creditable producers that are definitely making a name in this game. But what I was telling him is that this podcast isn't just about that. It's not just about majors. It's not just about, you know, who's next or this, that, and the third. None of that is about that. So, you know, I told him I'm here to cover all of the underground. It don't matter if you're coming up. I don't care if you just started 6 months ago. If you freaking making moves and shit and all that, and you doing your thing, and I see you doing your thing, and you know we come in contact with each other, and you know you see what I got going on, I see what you got going on. We probably going link. You know, it don't matter. I don't give a shit. You don't even gotta have a placement. Everybody has a story. Everybody still has progress. That is made regardless. A placement doesn't make that. Like no, you know, no beat sales or no placement or some artist that got good credentials. None of that makes a story. Everybody has a story before, whether I know you, whether a major knows you, it don't matter. Everybody has a story before that. So, you know, that's definitely one thing I want to shed light on. That's why this podcast will be having a lot of great guests, because like I'm not just here for the majors, although next episode will definitely be major. That I will give, since this is the fan appreciation episodes, and that I promise that I will be spilling gems. I'm not going to tell you the name, but there will be a very, very special guest next week for this episode. I don't think I'm going to be ready for that, because I'm going to be honest with myself, I don't think I was ready for it. He said, you know, he was ready. He ready. So, you know, we scheduled it and all that, you know, this and the third. So, you know, we made that shit work, you mean? But, actually, and right before we, get into the guest call, I'm actually going through some, comments and stuff right now, YouTube, Instagram. And if I actually do take the time to really edit the podcast this weekend, you know, before I actually put it out, I will see if I'm able to actually get the screenshots of all the comments, or the few comments that I've gotten from people about the podcast, this, that, and the third, you know, and see if I can put them on the, you know, on the, you know, if anybody see the drawing on the screen and all that. But, you know, if we make that work, we make that work. But, you know, I just want to give a shout out to the, you know, the couple of people who definitely been tuning in. Shout out my guy Rotten Luke, all the way from South Africa. He's been watching since episode 1, and it's funny, he told me that ever since he heard that episode with me and Poppy, we actually changed his perspective on buying collabs, because he actually said he said it in my DM. Actually, he didn't say this in the YouTube comments, but he told me in my DMs that you know, back then he would never pay for a collab. Once he heard that episode, you know, we had a good conversation about it after he got a chance to hear the episode, and you know, he has a new aspect on it and everything. So, you know, VPZ Damo, definitely another person. He just subscribed a couple. He actually subscribed a week ago, and you know, he definitely loved episode 3. You know, shouts out to you, bro. Shout out to Pup. Pup is actually my artist, but he actually didn't start getting into podcasts until I actually started doing it, or unless I was watching him in the studio and all that, for real. So, you know, like, he's definitely, you know, paying attention, definitely sharing it with friends and all that. So, you know, I really appreciate it. My guy BD Money, you know, definitely been supporting me for a grip, even before the podcast. Definitely been supporting the movement and everything. Definitely been supporting the label. So, you know, Al Pete, Shouts out to you. Actually, with Al Pete, if anybody is on Spotify who listen to podcasts, if you go to Bluff Guy Radio, he actually just did a podcast episode with Al Pete. So, you know, make sure y'all definitely check that out. He actually just subscribed himself. I actually just got done listening to that episode. You know, it was a very great episode. Sailus, Terrestrial Alien, my friend David, definitely consistent commenters on the YouTube. You know, like I said, everybody, you know, it's people that have been consistent for the past couple episodes, you know, that's just been listening. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right, bro, and, you know, if I say your name wrong, you have all the right to wham me on Twitter after you hear this episode. Akami, you know, if I'm saying your name right. If not, you have all rights to wham me on Twitter, you know, after this episode. But definitely shouts outs to you, because what Poppy was telling me was that he was a big supporter, that you were a big supporter of him. You know, this is way before we did the podcast and all that. He said you were definitely a big supporter of the movement, supporting Digital Dior, and you have definitely been showing love to the podcast ever since we have been put out. So, you know, definitely shouts out to you. So, you know, Pablo Bernard, he actually told me the other day that he actually had a chance to tune into the podcast and all that. So he definitely said that he loved it. He usually doesn't take his time to listen to podcasts, he told me. So, but, you know, he said he don't watch podcasts thoroughly, he told me in a text message. But he actually, you know, got to listen to mine thoroughly. It said it was great content, the conversation, you know, people know me. I keep it lit, you know, all that. So, you know, it's just, you know, shit like that I really appreciate. And, you know, I was going to give a couple gems. I might actually give them after the phone call, because I definitely don't mind, you know, dropping gems tonight, especially with the fan appreciation episode. You know, we going all out. So, you know, I definitely don't mind staying after the phone call. I might not. I'm not going to guarantee, but, you know, what we definitely going to do, definitely going to get situated. And, you know, I'm about to actually, you know, send my homie the link for the guest episode. So, but the one thing that I will say, some producers will be very offended after this episode, because there is a reason why I did call the episode No Propaganda. There may not be a specific topic, but a lot of so-called advice or so-called things that producers need to do in order to make it, I'm gonna have to shut some of it down, because some are facts, some are optional. That's what I will say. So what I'm gonna the best way I'm going to explain it is that I'm not trying to say that a lot of you are wrong. It's just the way that you're expressing, you know, certain things to producers. You're saying that what they're doing is wrong when it's really not. So, you know, that's kind of why I made this, like, you know, the fan appreciation episode as well, because I want to show the fans that, you know, there are standards, but you don't have to limit yourself the way that you think you do. And the guest tonight, you know, he actually don't know it, but along with the interview, I'm going to, like, you know, kind of Q&A with him. I'm going to let him ask me a couple questions, and, you know, I'm going to give my answer about it. Basically, it's going to, like, kind of be like an advice kind of thing, not really a consultation, but, you know, just my perspective on how I seen certain things and how I would attack certain things. So, for sure, like, you know, it's just a lot of that. It's just a lot that I feel like that just needs to get shut down. Like, because I understand that certain things don't work for certain people, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to work for the next person. And certain things A lot of them won't work for a lot of people. That I agree. But there are a few people, a very small percentage, who did the things that you didn't want to do, and they made a lane off of it. And that's kind of why, like I said, it's really no propaganda to the shit, because like coming into production, and I'm going to say this from, you know, my end, coming into production, I paid attention to Twitter posts too much, and I was really thinking that certain things had to be a certain way, when really, if I would have just paved my own lane and just listened to myself and my first instinct, you know, I probably would still have the podcast for sure, but I would be in a much higher place, if you catch my grip. You feel me? So, you know, I'm not really trying to get animated about it, but you feel me? Like, I'm just saying, a lot of shit, it may not work for one person, but don't say that to the next person, because you don't know what that person's going through. You don't know how that person's doing things. So, you know, I'll give a good example before we do the guest call. Paying for collabs. Y'all think I really made the first episode just because I'm thinking, oh shit, I can just talk about paid collabs? No, I actually really put that episode out, and that episode was really 2 hours for a specific reason, because producers, you can look at it how you want to look at it. Some people are going to do it, some people won't. But before you just say, oh, I'm not going to do this or I'm not going to do that, look into the situation of the person and what's going on, because you never know. You might pay for that one collab, it might actually get you somewhere. You never know. And maybe it might not. And here's the thing. Even though I talked about paid collabs, I'm not saying every producer had to pay for collabs. Like I said, there's no propaganda to it. And because there are plenty of ways, and I talked about it in other episodes, there are producers that work for free. Some producers, some work for free. So there are some producers that you don't have to pay for a collab for. And I know that because there are a lot of producers that I collab with on a daily, weekly, monthly, who I don't pay for collabs. And even if I do, small price, but they give you a hell of a lot. They give you a hell of a lot of collabs for them. So, you know, for real, like, that's just one example that we're gonna give tonight for the fan appreciation episode. And while I'm about to send him the link now, because you know, we about to be ready. But the one thing that I will announce, and I will announce this so nobody gets confused, because I put the post out, I think today or yesterday. My main Twitter and my main Instagram, well, I haven't been on my main Instagram for a minute, so a lot of people don't know about it, but there are still people who do follow it. My main Twitter and my main Instagram will be changed, and the secondary Instagrams that I have will be my personals, because I'm beginning something called the Metropolis Academy, and I'm going to be using my top followed pages for this, you know, this specific thing that's going on. You know, I'm not gonna get into it too much. I'll probably get into it the next episode, because you know, we're still working out a lot of bugs, and you know, this isn't no group or anything. Like I said, it's a lot that will be discussed, and I will be giving updates on Instagram and Twitter about it. But with the Metropolis Academy, I will be giving up my top followed pages in order to run this, because it will give us a much better gain and a much better opportunity. And plus, the people that I really need to be in contact with are on all of my pages, and I've been collecting their contact info. So, and collecting contact information will actually be another gem that I will be giving during the guest episode. So there we go. Just sent him the link. and you should get that in a second. But yeah, collecting contact information, that will probably be one of my top gems tonight. But I'm gonna discuss it with the guest, so then he also gets the gem just like everybody else. And but while we're waiting on the guest call, and if I don't be and if I'm not able to finish the sentence, when he gets in, I'm gonna say, honestly, out of the episodes that I've recorded so far for the podcast, if anybody was to ask me my personal favorite episode, I'm going to personally say, and a lot of people will probably be surprised when I say this, it's going to be the second episode with Bluff. Why? Because I feel like that's like an episode where it's like, it don't matter where you're at in this music shit, you can definitely get a gem or two from that episode, because we talking about getting with great people like Poppy from Digital Dior and YK from 808 Mafia and stuff, and we're talking about getting with great people like them. Talking about opportunities is something you can't miss out on. But okay, just ask me for the meeting ID. All right, bet. I guess this episode he needs the meeting ID. 757 2888. All right, bet. So, especially when I talked about missing out on that Don Toliver situation, when you miss out on opportunities, it's a hurt piece. It's definitely a hurt piece. And when you think about shit like that, like, damn, I missed that opportunity. Like, you see, like, you just seen how I shrugged. That's how you shrugging it when That's how you shrugging it when you think about it, like, damn, I just missed that opportunity. Like, damn, I could have just did this. I could have just did that. So, all right, passcode. There we go. I'm not surprised this one's linking different, because this is actually the first international episode as well. So, that's why I said it's a fan appreciated episode. We just making it do what it do tonight. Gas roll. All right. Homie just got the message about the passcode and the link and the meeting link. All right, bet. But yeah, that second episode is probably my favorite one, because I listen to that sometimes myself just to remind myself, like, damn, like, oh, one sec, guys. we just got LinkedIn. All right. Alright, turn my volume up. Hello? Okay, I think it says connecting to the audio.
Oh, how is it now? All good?
Perfect. There we go. There we go. Let Me Rap With You podcast. It's your boy 215 Got Beats. We got special guest and Bulgaria's own TrappedOutDanny in the building. What's up with you, bro?
Yeah, nothing much, bro. Just relaxing after 4 days being walked in. Making music all the time, just working.
I'm gonna say, so you finally had a few days off from work and shit. I'm gonna say, were you able to cook up a lot today?
Yeah. These last 4 days, aside from just some small chores around just basically, you know, just being woke up doing music. Nothing much aside from that, you know, just a small breaks here and there.
Well, man, it's great. It's great having you this episode. And, you know, like I was telling you earlier this week, you know, welcome to the Academy. You know, I was giving a briefing about the Metropolis Academy. You know, people going to find out more about us, you know, later on. But, you know, definitely glad to have you aboard of that. And I'm glad to have you for this episode. So, you know.
Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity, bro. I really appreciate anybody, you know, who supports me since the beginning, messing with my sound, messing with what I do, because that's what we all got to do, bro. We got to support and uplift each other because nobody else is going to do it for us, you know?
For sure. And we forget that a lot of times when, you know, when we be on the grind and all that, we be so into ourselves that we forget that we need others to, you know, make a way in this game. Because music is just something that you can't do alone. You feel me?
Yeah. I feel that many producers, including myself, you know, uh, first, you know, they're kind of, I mean, more or less, we're all introverts. At least that's what I'm thinking. Because more or less, we're all in our heads, you know, racing thoughts all the time about music, about branding, about, you know, everything which can put us ahead. So I think in the beginning, lots of producers just get caught up with that, you know, just being on their own and be like, I'm gonna do, like, for example, I'm gonna do my own melodies. I'm not gonna use whoops. I'm just gonna do it on my own. You know what I mean? Like, I see this argument all the time. So um, I think at the end of the day, it's just you have no other option but to just, if you're a person who likes to work, you know, on your own, you just need to suck it up and just say, look, in order to advance, I just need to network with like-minded people, you know, support each other, work together, eat together. That's how it is.
Man, it's facts. And I can say that I was a person that was definitely closed minded at one point, thinking that like I knew everything, or like not even knew everything, but I thought like I knew what I knew and I didn't really didn't need to collaborate with this person, with that person. And I slipped up on a lot of opportunities, you know, doing that shit. And, you know, like I'm just grateful to, you know, learn at some point in the process that, you know, and you know, speaking on that subject of using loops, you know, the one thing I'm going to tell you know the fans of the podcast, you know, using loops, I was definitely, here's the thing, y'all see me, 90% of my beats are collabs now. 90% of the beats that y'all see me put out are collabs now. It was a certain point to where, like Danny was saying, where I was just trying to make my own melodies, trying to make my own, you know, drums, this, that, and the third. And couple times it came out cool. But, you know, at a certain point, I just had to learn that, you know, once I started getting with people, I just started really making hitters. And sometimes collaborations is what it takes to get you to that next level.
Yeah, I agree. And also with every collaboration, you just, you know, you just spread like your seeds, you spread amongst the like amongst the fans of the other person. You know what I mean? You can tap into their fan base. You can tap into their um, followers, into the people who support their music. And if they just so happen to mess with what you're doing, they might go ahead and follow you as well. You know, give you that same support they're giving the other person. And when you just keep working with people and you know, you mess with each other, you like working together, you know, just great things happen, you know.
Hey, I'm gonna say it like this. That's how I kind of, you know, form, you know, when I was forming the academy, you know, because you're definitely a person, and you know, it's crazy. You know, it's crazy. Like you had asked me a couple days ago, like, you know, how come I wanted you on the episode, and and this mindset is part of the reason why I wanted you on the episode because, like I said, bro, it's not just about working with majors because, it's kind of like you said, you said in the DM personally, the first four guests I got were very creditable. But the reason why I was able to get those guys was because I had to get into that mindset of working with others, and a lot of these guys, we just talk on a daily, not even just beats, not even just music. We'll talk on a regular. Like niggas can talk about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for all we care. Like, you feel me? So, like you said, like me opening up to more people, me networking and talking to people more. And, I'm not saying that my social skills are the best because Lord knows they're not. But at the same time, talking to these people have gotten me into a lot of positions. And if I did it 2 or 3 times more than I am now, Lord knows where I could be.
Yeah, we just live and learn, bro. We just live and learn because, like I said, I was the same person in the beginning, all caught up with myself. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, but you just realize that, it's not only the better thing to work with more people, but the smartest as well, because it's just in this industry, you can, when the song gets released, and you see the credits, it's not just one person there, you know what I mean? There's like basically whole team
Mm-hmm.
behind it. So
As me and Bluff Guy discussed on episode 2, you know, back then, 30 years ago, you had to collaborate. Not one person couldn't play every instrument at the same damn time. You know,
yeah,
and like you said, like it don't matter if it's writers, it don't matter if it don't the engineer because the engineers definitely need more credit. It don't matter if it's the engineer, the producer, even if it's like people who linked up the situation. So, like, everything plays a part. But, while we're on the while we're on that, because I definitely don't have no propaganda about this. How do you feel about producers? I mean, not producers, engineers. How do you feel about engineers? Do you feel like they should get more credit than they deserve, or is or should they just charge a higher front end, or how do you think producers should be credited in this industry? Because there's definitely been a lot. I've been hearing a lot of people on Twitter talk about like how engineers should be credited. In my opinion, just like the producer, I think there should be a front end, and even if it's a small percentage, a back end. So that's just in my opinion. But everybody thinks differently. The industry works different. In my opinion, I believe the engineer deserves a front and a back end. Just like most, in my situation, whether it's an exclusive or a custom or a lease, I get upfront and they put me in royalties as well.
yeah, I agree. I agree actually, because lots of the times, like let's take like Alex Tumay, he mixed lots of these big records, and probably more people would appreciate what engineers do and how they shape up a track if they actually heard, the version before and after, you know what I mean?
For
Like
sure.
if they just had a sneak peek, before the song, before the vocals, before the beat, it's like before everything is mixed and put proper good, together, I think people then would have much more appreciation of the engineer and their work,
A
because
lot
they
of
don't realize.
people don't know because like especially nowadays, in quarantine and in the new internet world, a lot of rappers are sending their vocals to engineers and stuff, that are rapping from the house. But the one thing that I will say is sometimes like that, and then I'm gonna say it like this because I know certain rappers positions, if they have stems or track outs to the beat and the engineer has it they don't know that the engineer played a part in, you know, the beat as well, because you never know. Like I can actually say an example, and the song is not out yet because the homie ain't dropped the album yet. But the one thing I will say on the song is that when I sent the original beats and I sent the original stems, parts of the beat, especially the underwater effect. Most 99% of my beats, I don't really do the underwater effect because I feel like most engineers that will probably do it, that will probably do the song, will probably do the effects themselves. But they put effects. They put effects on the beat that I sent them because it was just the drums, the melody, everything was just set the way it was, and then they put like all these effects and stuff on it to make it sound wavy. And then, you know, like I said, some people will probably think I did that, but I didn't. I made the beat and I made the beat with a collab with one of my in-house, but then I sent it off, and then the song was made after that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the other thing that, for example, okay, the people like hear the beat, like they can hear what the producer done, but on the other hand, they cannot like they cannot recognize what the engineer has done. You know what I mean? Because just because their ear isn't trained, you know, just because we're talking about a casual listener. So it's like uh, not only they're not getting, you know, like you said, they're not getting any percentage, any front and back end from the, you know, like shaping the sound around the vocals and putting everything together, but also the work in general isn't recognized because, as you said, the person doesn't know that engineer did that, for example. The person thinks that you did that.
A lot of my friends who heard the song that I let hear, they was like, you did that to the beat." I'm like, "No, I didn't. I was shocked myself. You feel me? Like I was shocked myself, but you know, and it's like, but you know, at the same time, you know, it's a couple more things I want to say about engineers later on in the episode, but you know, I want to before we get into like, you know, more propagandic topics. Well, not propagandic, but you know, propaganda topics. I call it propagandic because it's so much propaganda. Propagandic should be a word. But I want to, you know, as I said before, you know, before I called you in the intro segment, you know, every producer has a story. Every, you know, every artist, every producer, it don't matter if you're major, it don't matter if you got a placement, none of that shit matters in my view, because there's a story before, you know, before I had you on this episode. You know, TrappedOutDanny had a story before he was making beats. So, you know, I kind of want to, you know, I want to kind of dig into like how you started making music, you know, like your origins, being born in, you know, Bulgaria, going to, you know, and then going to the United Kingdom. You know, I kind of want to, you know, get into all that so, you know, people know who TrappedOutDanny is, you know, not just for his great mindset, but for who he is.
Yeah, yeah, I get you, bro. Well, it's a long journey. I can just start with that. So when I was very young, me and my brother and my mother, we had to move back to our um, granddad's house because when I was like, I think I was 6, my dad was like a military guy, and he just ended up, you know, like kind of ditching us. So we had to move back to my granddad's house, you know, because we couldn't afford to pay the bills for like, you know, for like rent and stuff. So we just went back. And I was a pretty quiet kid, you know, when I was growing up. And we had that old like cassette recorder with some old cassettes lying around. So back then there was no like CD players, no shit like that, you know.
Yeah.
So
Love the cassette days. Love the cassette days,
yeah, yeah,
and it's great to know that all the way out there in, you know, Bulgaria and other countries, that, you know, that cassettes still existed. You know, that, you know, labels were still, you know, putting out the cassettes and all that. That's very lit.
yeah. That's how I started my journey with this cassette player because first we used to have like a TV channel where there was like a show which was playing, you know, hip hop. Like you had to call, you know, to the line, and you're like, let's say I want something by Tupac, and they play you something by Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
So I was growing up, you know, and always following that show, because that was basically the only place where I could get, you know, that foreign music heard. Back then it was really foreign to me, because, you know, I was still like kind of learning English and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I started really with the local Bulgarian scene back around the 2000s. It was like really popping at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started with this cassette recorder, and at some time passes, I was just, you know, kind of recording over these old cassettes, and I was just recording stuff from the TV, like all kinds of records, and that's how I slowly, you know, started listening to all kinds of like the older rappers,
For sure.
especially
For
after,
sure.
yeah, especially that was basically my only touch with like the hip hop scene back then, because we didn't have no internet, no nothing, you know what I mean? So I just had my cassettes. And when years passed by, you know, I always kept, you know, music was always a big part of like my daily task, you know. I always been listening to music for hours and hours to the day. And at some point, with time, when the cable, you know, came through, when internet came through, when I had my first internet, I just started following these blogs, like hip hop was still really popping back then, and
Mm-hmm.
the mixtape sites, you know, like Wife mixtapes, like Spin Real, Adaptive,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they were really popping back in the days. So as I grew up, I really, you know, just started following blogs like that, and just, you know, basically ending up downloading all kinds of artists' music. Just, you know, I was getting into like a whole completely new scene, you know, because until then I just didn't have a touch to that. I
Mm-hmm.
just had a touch to like, you know, the most like mainstream hip hop songs. Other than that, I didn't really know how the other music was sounding.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I can say that, especially going like after the 2000s, like music definitely started getting more versatile. So, you know, I can't really say that there was a specific sound, because like every genre kind of had their own wave. But and it's so funny, like speaking of genre, because it's crazy how, you know, you still had, you know, your history coming up with hip hop, but you know, you call yourself Trapped Out Danny. So it's like, you know, going on later on, especially once the trap era came with music, like did you really have a love for that that really kind of helped you like inspire your name?
yeah, definitely. For 1 years, I actually had a nickname. I'm gonna tell you about that story in a bit. So basically, like you said, the 2000s, it was like a really good time for music, you know, especially mainstream hip hop. Mainstream hip hop, everything was like popping, you know. 50 Cent, Get Rich, Die Trying. It it was like really good years for hip hop in general. So back then, I was also really getting into the Texas scene and the Memphis scene. I
Wow.
was really into like, Rap Records, UGK, Screwed Up Click. I was listening to like Bun B, Polo, Swisher House, Slim Thug. I was even bumping, like screwed and chopped tapes at one point. I was really messing with that sound.
That's crazy. All the way out there, they down south. You know,
Yeah,
I definitely got my love for down south. The majority of the artists that you name are definitely, you know, some of my favorites. You know, like I was telling YK in the last episode, Juicy J, definitely
yeah,
one of my top 10. Like I said, so like it's great to see that, you know, somebody all the way out in another country is so inspired by, our music in, in America. And it's so crazy how that inspired your sound, especially with the crazy beats that you got, you know, that you got going.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Just say it was really a big influence. The whole Swisher House. I remember bumping the tapes like nobody's business. I had just downloaded them on my phone. I was listening on the way to school, on the way back from school, all the time. It was a really a huge thing for me. I kept getting and following all their discographies, because after I ended up listening to them, I was like, oh, okay, look, I haven't listened to that artist enough, so I just dived through. I just looked through their catalog. I
Went back
just
and did
bumped
your
all their
research.
albums. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was the case, with Mike Jones, with Paul Wall, with Bumby, with everybody. Same like you mentioned, Juicy J. Juicy J is definitely, definitely a top 5 influence for me. DJ Paul and Juicy J, I believe they're like they set the foundation for the sound which we're having right now, definitely.
Mm.
Like to this day, when you bump 36 Mafia albums, this shit just sounds fresh as fuck. It's like it just came out yesterday.
For
It's
sure.
just so crisp. It's just so crispy, so clean. It swaps like today's production, like without even.
I'm not gonna lie. Lately, especially we talking down south, I've been in a DJ drama mood lately. Like I've been listening to nothing but like old, like especially like we talking 1B. I know you was listening to the old Gangsta Girls mixtapes. Like I've been in a drama mood lately for some reason. I've been listening to like the old Gangsta Girls albums and all that, and like just like you said, like I definitely see where you know trap was different during that time, but they still set the foundation. They still like even way back like 3 6 Mafia, like all that, like everybody think like trap music is new. It's really not. It's just that our generation, we made it the shit. That's what that is. We made trap the shit. But Juicy J, like you said, Juicy, Bun B, Pimp C, the Ghetto Boys, the Scarfaces, and guys like that, they're the ones who really set the foundation. And it's great to see that that really inspired your sound.
Yeah,
And and I'm gonna say this, you know, the I see that you have the Trapped Out Mob. Who do you have involved with the Trapped Out Mob? Because I see that you the CEO of that. So like, just like me, I see you got a wave of producers coming. So I had seen that in your bio. I ain't really get to do my research on y'all, but I'm gonna let you, you know, shout your guys out on here real quick.
well, the Trapped Out Mob, to be honest, it's like it was really like a vision I had, bro. And nowadays, when I have a certain vision which is just popping up in my head, and when I feel like I need to execute, I just execute. You know what I mean? Like I don't think why or what or how. I just believe that I got this into my head for a reason. So that's why I believe I had to execute it. It's really like it's like a random thought of something like a collective slash label, you know. And so far, I haven't thought anything special about it, but it's gonna be just releases which I do with with friends I work with, and with time, who knows, maybe it's gonna become official and it's gonna become like a proper team. You know what I mean? You never know. I just decided
I'll
I
tell
had the
I'll tell
vision.
I'll tell you one thing that I do know. There's no maybe to that. You're gonna make that shit happen for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
Like one thing I will tell you, like you said, no if and hows or buts. You're gonna make that happen, bro, for sure. I don't have to say maybe you're gonna do this or maybe I'll never know. No, I know. I know. You feel me? Because your first instinct always never lies to you. The first instinct never lies to you, especially with music. And it's going to be trial and error. It's going to be some fails, some success. But the one thing that I will tell y'all to remember is that y'all, like, even with my label, World of Metropolis and all that, and especially like I said, we expand into the Metropolis Academy. Like, I never look at any of my in-house or anybody I work with like we signed. I just look at us like a bunch of people who believe in the same vision, and we all gonna make it happen one way or another. And if one person make it happen, we all sharing that, and then we rub off that energy, and then somebody else make that shit happen, and then once a bunch of y'all just make shit happen, then y'all come together, and then like I said, it's no like never know or maybe. It's like like everything works out in its own way. Like a lot of moves that me and my label made, like we didn't plot none of it. We gonna do this. We gonna see how it goes, and after that we go to the next thing, and shit works. Some things work out, some things don't. Some things take progress, but at the same time, like the one thing I say is no propaganda to the shit, and making something happen is work and faith. That's all I can really say is work and faith, and also having a game plan. That's one thing I'm learning in my process as well. Like game plan and like working in faith is one thing. My homie GSI, he always be telling me about having confidence. Excuse me, burped off a soda. But my homie GSI be always telling me about like having confidence, having faith in the craft and all that. That and the third, he be telling me that my girl be telling me the same, and just having a game plan of just something that you really want to do, and you do that and it will happen. You can't predict time, but the one thing I will say is that if you do something and you want something, something has to come out of it, no matter what it is. That's the one thing I can give.
Yeah, definitely. But just gotta
anybody,
keep
anybody,
persistent.
anybody tell you can't do that shit? It's propaganda.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the reason why also in the producer community, you know, big names say, oh, you can do this, you can do that, or this sucks. Like, you know, clearest example I'll give you, Omnisphere sucks.
Yeah,
Don't
actually,
use
I was gonna
Omnisphere.
ask you before I go down my list of propaganda. I want you to break down a couple of things that you've seen on Twitter that you thought, what the heck, and then like I'll give my opinion on how I think, like how you feel me, like I said, because like this is where some producers, a lot of y'all not going like what's about to be heard, but it's just a lot of producers are just being lied to, and I feel like I can't I can't keep letting that happen. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, if you spend, even a bit time in the Twitter community, you're gonna figure it out sooner or later. Because at this point, people, it's like when you spend some time, you see that people are either, they wanna cause controversy and they wanna get engagement, or they're just straight trolling, or they are telling you something because they want you to do, they don't want you to do the exact opposite. You know what I mean? It's like they're always gonna post something, but it's always gonna be some thought behind it. Like, it's the percentage of people who actually, post what they think is like really small. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, it's a very small percentage of producers who that actually get facts, and they know because like we be talking in Twitter and all that. But like, what's something that like you seen producers like say that kind of like made you think like, damn, like is that you mean like is that really like something I should do or shouldn't do? Like, what was like one of the first things you seen like that you thought was like, wow, like that's weird?
well, basically we can put any conversation about don't use XYZ plugin, you know what I mean, or VST. I mean any anything with that is pretty like it doesn't make sense at all. You know what I mean? Like you cannot really tell a person what to use and what not to use, especially when in this game, there's pretty much no rules as long as it sounds good.
Well,
So
in my opinion, and especially when Bluff God was talking about FL Studio 4 back in episode 2, we was talking about FL Studio 4, and this is before you can use MIDI keyboards or and all that stuff. Everything came from something. A lot of producers that are coming in the game, some that are making noise, they came from like using 9, 10, 11. Trust me, I may be a little older, but I came into producing a little later on. So when I started using FL Studio 9, if I recall, it was already easier to maneuver and manipulate stuff in the program. And, a lot of producers think that, some of these hot melodies and synths be coming from like crazy VSTs. They really don't. Some of them be coming from the stocks that you be sleeping on right in the damn program. It don't matter if it's FL Studio. Ableton got some crazy ass preset VSTs with pianos, all that shit. A lot of people don't know Ableton got some crazy shit in there. And that's another thing. Like this comes from somebody who uses both FL and Ableton. So like, see, it's like the controversy. Like, first of all, I'm gonna break down two internet money factors for all you producers who are so-called internet money fans who be bashing stock VSTs. Taz has said it many like years ago, probably like 4, 5, 6 years ago. A lot of stuff that he made from those wave supply kits were made from stocks. They weren't made from no crazy like Johns that he got from Guitar Center or any of that. This was way before all that came into the picture. This was way before the internet money mansion came into the picture and all that. Like, and another factor, and my good friend overseas, you know, he signed with internet money. Shout out to Cody. Overseas, he signed with internet money, and he used FL Studio now, but before he was signed with internet money, the majority of his career and while he was in school, he was using Ableton and other digital audio workstations. But so many people want to talk shit about these programs, but you still want to praise the producers who already made it. This, that, and the third. It's hypocrisy.
well,
So
all, all,
you just shook your head. You just shook your head.
all I gotta say is, bro, that doesn't matter. All these producers who are too worried on like what people cook up on or what equipment they use, they're not gonna they're not gonna go far, because it's a fact. And there's like gold producers and platinum, if I'm not mistaken, who are literally cooking up beats on an iPad, on GarageBand. So what VSTs and what equipment are we talking then? You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, bro. You got me there. You got me right there. I can't give you an answer. I can't give you an answer. And You know, I've been considering it myself because I am a big fan of Akai, and you know, I'm actually going to get the MPC beats free. I was actually considering because I used to make beats off of the MPC Element software. Now they have an MPC beat software, and I was actually considering ordering a new Akai anyway. I've been considering that for probably the past couple of days, and with the MPC beats, it's not FL Studio, but the shit that I can do in that, and not only that, like you said, on their phone, I'm actually considering getting the iMPC. And because I've already done my research. I've already looked up YouTube videos on how I can get the couple of sound kits that I want on the cloud on my iPhone and transfer it and be able to use the kits right off my phone and use them right in the iMPC. I already did the research. I just had to look at the video a couple more times when I finally do buy it off out the app store. But just thinking about it like that, like just think about that factor right there. Now I just take my resource outside of my house because, like I said on my recent Instagram post on the World of Metropolis page, and like Wallow267 said, the world is literally in your fucking hand. They got an app for literally fucking everything in your fucking hand. They got an app for fucking everything. So, you know, like,
If you wanna do it, you wanna do it, bro. You know, I mean, before when I didn't have my own PC at some point, you know, I don't know if you know the app. It's called Caustic. It was on the Android, and I believe it's also for iOS as well. I was cooking up beats on that. You know what I mean? I didn't have nothing by then. I just had an Android phone, so I was just cooking up beats on the Android phone. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You gotta make the best with what you got.
for sure, for sure. And now,
If you
you
wanna
know,
do it, if you wanna do it.
and now you're and now you on the come up, you're making a name for yourself. Placement's definitely going to be coming in at a certain point. You know, you're getting, interviewed, and that astounds me because this is coming from a person who was closed-minded at one point. Yes, I'm talking about myself, people. Yes, I'm talking about myself in third person. Fight me about it. But me, I was a person that was closed-minded, thinking, "Oh, you can't do this shit. You can't do that shit. Oh, you can't do this shit. Do that shit. Do this shit." I was that same person. But once I started really, see, I can't speak for everybody else, bro. But when I be looking at the deconstructions on Genius, when I be looking at these little cook up videos, when I be looking at, all these producers' YouTubes, and even looking at the old videos of Jalil Beats cooking up, Lex Luger, Southside, looking at all the videos of these producers cooking up, like the proof is right there in your face. And that's the one thing I love about YouTube, especially so, the ones that have the cameras to, really actually show the process. The proof is really there that they're making it happen. And a lot of y'all still want to be closed minded. A lot of y'all still want to hate. And we're not just talking about beats. We're not just talking about rappers. We're talking about fashion. It could be TV shows. It don't, like, whatever lane you're in, regardless. Like, the proof is in the pudding that people are making it happen, and it's like, you still want to be closed minded. I mean, if you want to be like the old me, go ahead. But if old me would have stayed old me wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I mean, we had to get through some things to become the people we are now. You know what I mean? It just had to be done. And like you're saying, when you mentioned these videos, the cook-up videos, you know, if if you think about it, at all these cook-up videos, like let's say Sizzle and Lex, you know, like that famous video with the broken keyboard. That video is probably responsible for me cooking up beats right now. You know what I mean? If it
That beat
wasn't
is
for that
probably
video,
responsible for millions.
yeah, yeah,
And I say that 3 times because it's probably that many producers doing that shit because of that damn video. Because I can speak for myself, my god brother, and a couple of others I came up. And here's the thing, I was rapping. Like, I started making beats because of my god brother. And we were very influenced by Southside and Lex Luger. Sometimes I feel like me and him were basically like a parallel Southside Lex Luger type shit. But you know, like, you know, even with like influencer videos, like we could say Gary V, or like I said, Gary V, Wallow. It don't matter. Any influencer, Ty Lopez, you name it. Like, and I'm not saying that everything that everybody give is 100% fact. Some things are opinionated. Some things work for others. Some things work for this person, that person. But the one thing I will say, and especially about influencer videos, when they talk about mindset, like, I don't feel like everybody was born at the top, especially for people like, Gary Vee, especially, we all know his story. We all know he came from nothing. So, you know, mindset is like, it has to be built. It's not just, you're not just born with it. So it's like, it's kind of like building a tolerance. So if the one gem that I will give, like, to producers, like, if you're a producer that's like, you're down about your craft, or this, that, and the third, or like, you feel like you can't, like, you feel like you're in a rut, watch some tutorials, watch some influence videos. That should probably up your day. You feel me?
yeah, I do the same. I always, when I don't feel like it, I always watch cookup videos like Southside Lex, 808 Mafia, anything like that, and just the energy itself you get from those videos. And like you said, mindset is very important. It's like probably the most important thing, because let's go back to that famous video, with Sizzle and Lex and the broken keyboard. They're just starting there. They're just cooking up beats together,
Broken keyboard, computer, and all that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, exactly. And they're literally sitting in a living room. They're making music together, and they know that they're the shit, you know what I mean? So what means that the mindset is already there. At that point of their careers, they haven't blown up yet, but they already know they're the shit, you know what I mean? Just by their energy and by the vibes they give out, you realize when you look at all these hookup videos, all these producers, it's like you have to be. It's very important to be a fan of yourself first. You know what I mean? You have to rock with your own music and what you do, because if you don't, I don't think you're truly passionate about it. If you don't rock with I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody has like one beat or two, which you don't really rock with. You know what I mean? Sometimes you make a beat, you don't really mess with it. That's fine, but if you don't support yourself and you're not your biggest fan, that's not the energy to have around you, and that's not the mindset to have.
Yeah, like,
That's
I'm
all I
gonna
have.
I'm gonna say it like this, like, it's crazy. Like, a lot of my favorite A Mafia produced songs were before they were really big. But aside from that, like you said, being a fan of yourself, and like, the one thing that I will give on this episode, like, producers, if you have a specific sound and you rock with it, even if people aren't rocking with it, just stick with it. Because, like, I got a good friend of mine, YOUNGICEWATER. A lot of people, you know, they don't get the sound yet, but when I hear that shit, I sat there like, yo, this kid got away with this little like this little like sound he got going on. Like I'm not going to get the sound because I'm going to make y'all do the work and search him up and all that. But like I love how like regardless of how many views he get, how many he'll keep posting, he'll keep like reaching out to the people that he reach out to, and he still keep that sound going, like regardless of what the people are saying on Twitter, what the people are saying on Instagram. He still got that wave going, and I really rock with that kid for that, for real. And because like a lot of people will look at certain tutorials or certain Twitter posts and think like, oh, I got to do it just like that. No, they're not telling you that you have to do it just like that. This is just an example. There are plenty of other ways to, really do this shit. There's plenty of other ways. It's not just, oh, look at a tutorial and then do it just like that, and then that's the one way. No. That's why there are multiple tutorials, because producers look up to multiple producers. And that's why I feel like it's right that the producers who do what they do, they put up the tutorials, because it's like, okay, like let's say, for example, some people look up the internet money. They'll go to an internet money tutorial. Kyle Beats. Some people look up the Kyle Beats. Some people look at his tutorial. Kai Beats. Some people look at his tutorial. Like everybody has that producer that is probably up there or up at a certain status already that probably has tutorials like that they'll probably look at. And that's why, like I said, that's why I'm glad like there are so many producers giving gems and resources, like the ones who are, already making some sort of noise or some sort of credential that are putting out these tutorials that, they're showing the way. Like even with Chew, like Chew has his little wave of like, doing Travis Scott type beats. And it's a wave. Like them tutorials is lit. Like I'm not saying everybody has to do it like that, but if you take a gem or two from it, your shit might be lit bop. And that's all it's about. It's just about taking a gem or two from. The one thing I've learned, and me being open-minded more every day, is like taking a gem or two from all the positive things I see. Because if there's nothing negative in the video or nothing negative that they're talking about, like, why are you bashing it? Now, if somebody's telling you you can't do something, then then that's where you can like speak. You feel me? Because if somebody tell you can't do something, you probably gonna tell them like, I've probably done it. You feel me?
So if people are being that way towards you, you need to cut them off, because no person can tell you what you can and what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? Usually that's the other thing. I believe that in order to let the blessings come, you need to cut off people like that. You need to cut off all kind of energy. Like you need to completely cut it off. Because it's like it's either you're either gonna be negative or you're gonna be positive. Like there's no middle ground. And
Yeah, and that's how I've been attacking a lot of my situations lately. So, like, I'm gonna break down a good example of like, and a couple of people asked me if how I made it happen. I'm actually gonna break it down in this episode right now, since this is a fan appreciated episode. I put up a post recently. I don't know how many days it was ago, but I know you've seen the post. But I had talked about how I had gotten one of my closest collaborators locked in with Sunny Laurent. A couple people hit me up. They was like, "What?" But when I did that, I didn't really do too much, because, like you said, it was about the mindset. And I'm not going to give the name of my collaborator, because we going to keep all that in the tuck. And Sunny is still, he got collabs available. So put that bag up, everybody. Producers, put that bag up. You feel me? I need to get my money right and put it back up. But back to the story. My friend had asked me in the DM on Instagram. He said, I had seen the Sunny Laurent post about the collabs. This how much it costs? I'm like, yeah. He says, is it worth it? You want to give me the money and find out? Said you want to give me the money and find out? Cause I definitely show you it's worth it. I ain't put no propaganda towards none of that. I told him straight up, go for it. Because me, and especially like, and this is the thing, propaganda I could have gave him the propaganda because I don't make loops. I don't make melodies like that. I'm still learning. I'm still practicing on the daily of how to make lip melodies, you know. So me as a drum constructor, I could have told him, I'm not sure. I never really, but because most labs I pay for, they send me the melodies and I do the drums because the producers that I talk to, they know my situation. But, I told him straight up, like, bro, you got some of the best melodies that I know. Do that shit. Because if I was you, I'd definitely do it. Now I got him locked in.
Yeah, it's just up to the person. Are they willing to invest in themselves? It's like with every other business.
My guy was already willing to invest before he even hit me up about it. He already had the thought in his head. So it's like knowing that I knew he had that thought in his head before he even hit me up about it. I'm like, all right, cool. We definitely about to make this work. Hit up Sunny right then and then.
Yeah, it's just he basically had made up his mind even before, telling you something. You know what I mean? It's just, many times, at least for me, I'm personally the same. I make up my mind, but I just need, a few last, affirmations that everything is gonna be cool. You know what I mean? But most of the time, my mind is already made up, so it makes sense when you're about your business, because many people forget that this is a business as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, are you willing to invest? Are you willing to take the risk? If you are, it can be only two options from that.
Yep. Whether it's paying for collabs, whether it's, and, I was kind of telling you about it earlier in our like discussion. I think it was a day or two ago. Like you was, I think you were asking me about getting more engagement and getting more like artists to contact you. My opinion is going back through the following that you have and connecting with the producers and artists that are already following you, because we tend to, a lot of people talk about like they'll have this many followers, but you're only getting this many likes or this many reposts. Are you contacting all of your followers to get those likes and reposts? Because I know I'm not. I'm gonna keep it honest. Because my main Twitter has 800 followers. And I know I don't talk to 800 people a day. But if I did, I'm pretty sure that my engagements would probably be much higher. So, like, because this worked for me. I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody. Some people do ads. Some people do services. It depends. But the one thing I will say in my situation, me networking with certain people and certain artists is how I've gotten my situations to work, how I've gotten, paid for customs, how I've gotten certain leases, certain exclusives. But during that time, I was still spamming, and I probably lost a lot of opportunities just trying to spam the artists and whoever, just trying to send them my link store, or the beat store, whatever. But doing that, I probably slipped out on a lot of opportunities because I'm so focused on like, oh, I gotta send them the beat store. They gotta pay for the beat. It don't always work like that. They gotta know who you is first. They gotta know, you know, who they're dealing with, what kind of content, you know, you got, you know, the value that you're bringing with the content, because anybody can have beats, but what are you bringing with it? Because me, when I bring beats,
Yeah, but you're not just bringing beats, you know, you're getting involved with the promotion, you know, with everything you're posting on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere, you know what I mean? That's not just, you know, it's one thing, you know, being able to like lend a sale, you know, or lend a placement, but it's completely different thing to get involved with the promotion, you know, and I really salute you for that.
well, I'll say it like this. Um, the cheat code to that, the cheat code word producers is being resourceful. That is another cheat code that I'll give. I think I actually talked about it in my ebook that I sent you. Um, even if you don't do promotion, even if you don't do graphics, if you're a producer who just strictly make beats, if you know people that do other things and you have a client or you're talking to a follower that's looking for these things, get to him or her. Let them know, yo, this person does this, that, and third. Because once you give them a resource, they're going to look at you like, oh, this person knows about this, that, and the third. So he must know about other things. I'm going to see what they about. Because I'll say it like this, I've definitely been resourceful to certain contacts, to certain, you know, clients. I was resourceful first, or, you know, just talking in good words of somebody or something. And then we just started linking off of that. You feel me?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
so, or if somebody, like, I know one client, I got him just because he knew somebody that did promotion. I put him on to somebody, and then da da da. I mean, he only brought a beat one time, but just even getting that one, if you did that with 5 people, that's 5 sales, possibly.
Yeah, yeah, that's the way to go. Because, for example, if this artist, you know, let's say if this artist works with another producer and the other producer just, you know, secures the sale and then, you know, does nothing to promote it and anything, you know, of course, the artist is gonna pick you, you know, to produce his album, for example. You know what I mean? Because he knows that you're not just only trying to secure the sale, you know, you're properly caring about the product which is gonna come out, and you're gonna push it as hard as him. You know what I mean? It's like you said, it's all about providing value to the people, and like just being supportive and be a genuine human being. You know, not just spam your links around and, you know, just expect people to magically take away from their time, you know, to take your stuff when you know, when you don't give a single fuck about what they gotta say, for example.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing I learned in the long run. But even with the few clients, because like even during the spam time, I did get a client or two. But even with that client or two, at a certain point, like, and you know, I still have those clients to this day. But like, you know, most of the time we just be talking about regular stuff now, because it's like one thing I've learned about me as a producer and just working with artists, like I kind of like have to, like, how do I say this? Like, I got to be able to talk to you about dumb shit just to talk to you about regular shit. It's kind of weird. Like, it's kind of weird. Like I kind of gotta, like, it's weird. Like with my clients, on a regular day, we can just be talking about whatever, or just talking about something they doing. Like one of my good friends down south. You know, some days we don't even be talking about music. Like, I might hit him up like, "Yo, bro, what's good? You doing business today? Oh, you just got done doing the daily run. You know, stay safe out there. This, that, and the third. Like, you know, just putting consideration into what they're doing, or just looking at something that they're doing. Like, it's all about really relating to it's really about relating to the artist, or even to the producer. Because you never know what producer, even producer to producer, like the situation works the same way. Because you never know what producer you may be collabing with. You never know who they might be working with on the side. You never know, and that could be artist or producer wise. Somebody you collabing with, you never know who they working with on the side. And the next thing you know, boom. And then in the aftershock, if you played a part in the career, you know, you still gonna be there. I got a couple homies that just went platinum this year. You know, I'm looking at like, you know, they platinum, they probably gonna be busy now. No, they hit me right back up. They said, bro, we got, you know, we gotta get back to it. We gotta get back to it. I'm like, for sure. You feel me?
Yeah, people appreciate you because, you know, you've been a point at their journey, you know, where you're being supportive, you provided something to them, you know, you rock with them, so, you know, they're just being appreciative back. And as you mentioned, a big thing also is, you know, to be relatable. Like many people make the mistake to, like, how to put it, to like act too robotic, you know what I mean, to act too robotic on social medias, like um don't show their face, just post like business related stuff or like music related stuff. And like, you know, I believe it's, of course it's not impossible to like make a living that way, but you know, a lot of people are gonna cater to you more and feel attracted to you more when you're actually being, you know, a relatable human being, you know, when you're being, you know, your own kind of weird, you know, when you're just being a normal human being, like you said, you have days where you're just, you know, talking about just random daily things with your clients. And you know, that's how it is. You gotta build a relationship with, you know, it's like a friend. You gotta provide value, and you gotta give people support to expect to get it back, you know. You gotta give to take.
Yeah, like yeah, and you don't even have to call the person a friend. Like that's why I like the magic words social media. You have to be social.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see how that works? It's not saying you have to be friend, but you know, social media. If you're social, things work out certain ways depending on how you approach the situation. So, you know, like that's what I said, like I feel like it's really that's like a common breakdown for me. It's called social media, not make all these accounts for apps and be a freaking introvert about shit. Cause that's how I used to look at shit sometimes. But like, no, it's like now, like, you know, besides posting beats or like posting like somebody I just got placement with or whatever, you know, even with the podcast, like I like when I talk, you know, you feel me? Like I like people to see who's behind this voice. You feel me? So it
Yeah,
don't
exactly. They need to relate to something.
yeah, it don't matter if I'm some high end major producer, some underground producer, some suit and tux guy. It don't matter. Some freaking introverted producer, freaking stoner type. It don't matter. But I like for people to know like who's behind this freaking like this fucking camera, like this camera, this voice. You feel me? And you know, sometimes like even sometimes like with my clients, like another cheat code that I'm gonna give, you know, like producers like shit, if you bored one day, you ain't got nobody to talk to, shit. Freaking Instagram call or freaking, you know, FaceTime your client or your possible client, FaceTime them. Just see how the day going. Like you never know where that might lead to. I've had just regular days where I just talk to a client about just some regular shit. They'll go to the store and say, oh, I need this. You feel me? Didn't even ask them to go to the store.
Yeah, that's the thing, that you show them, you don't treat them as just like a, you know, you don't treat them like just a bag, you know what I mean? You don't treat them like a walking, uh, you know, doorbell, you know what I mean? You're treating them as human beings, you're treating them as like, you know, relatives, friends. that's the thing, like you said, that's the cheat code to treat people like they're people, not to treat people like, you know, not to treat
Definitely,
them like a bag.
definitely shout out to Kato because he was definitely one of the first producers who I heard gave that gem. Kato, Ryan Leslie, they were definitely like the first to give that gem. And I didn't, I didn't listen at first, but once I started getting it myself and actually started relating to my clients, then it's like, oh, okay, like this shit really do work like this for real. And like honestly, like I said with my thing, there are so many ways that you know it's more than just having a beat store, posting it on your Instagram, posting it on your Twitter or Facebook. It don't matter. It's more than just having a beat store and posting it. Like now, the one thing now, I'm not going to say it's propaganda, but it is. Oh, let me see. But the one thing I will say, had to fix something. My bad. But one thing I will say is that, like you said, like you can't just be posting beats and stuff. Like me, even if it's like I'll say like this, I think the month of July or August, I made like a good almost 1K in that 1 month. And the way I did it, I did not post one beat store link. I actually posted a bunch of screenshots of some older beats. And that's the thing. A lot of people thought the beats were new. They really weren't. They were just older beats that I never posted. And I screenshotted the recordings, posted it on I think I posted it on Twitter, I think. And a bunch of people who never like followed me before or anything. Like I think I got like one follower who's heard that and he was like, "Oh, I need that John." You feel me?
Yeah, exactly. So that shows that, you know, you don't got to be the spammy type. You don't have to be the robotic type to just post your, you know, your music, to just use the social. Like you said, the social, you know, it's called social media for a reason. Like if, and even the algorithms are just, you know, against you if you just, you know, post like promotional shit. You know, they just block your stuff. They just shadow ban you. They do all kinds of shit, you know, to stop it, and many people don't realize that.
I'm gonna say like this. The whole algorithm code thing, to me, like it may be real, it may not be. But to me, I think the algorithm code is a myth because like I said, like myself alone is an algorithm code. I got 800 followers. I probably only contact maybe a good 5 to 10% of them. That's the algorithm itself. How am I supposed to get traffic or have more people contacting me, this, that, and the third, if I'm only talking to 5 to 10% of my following? How, Sway? How? So,
Yeah, basically, like you said, it doesn't matter if you have 1K or 2K followers. What matters is what value you get out of these followers, you know? Like how much are you actually getting from this number, which you have? Are you like actually getting something, or are you just, you know, having a mess on your feed? And also another thing which I wanna mention, which I noticed, and I'm not sure if they done it on purpose, but lots of these, you know, YouTube tutorials and whatnot, guides, you know, anything from that sort, I noticed that for some reason, very few of them mention Twitter. And for me, you know, Twitter was really a game changer. So I'm still not sure if they just done that on purpose, you know, to like not leak the source, or like it's, you know, it's like these people proper don't use Twitter that much, because, you know, I really wish I got into Twitter earlier. You know what I mean? Because I I think that IG, especially now, is getting like worse and worse regarding networking, regarding, you know, getting contacts and all of that.
The one thing I will say is now the IG algorithms, it is kind of more impossible to really get a higher like engagement than Twitter on there. But the one thing I will say with IG, because I'm not going to go against, especially anybody in my DMs, I'm not going to go against that. But just like Twitter, because I've been on Twitter for 8 years, but I branched out to the people who I branched out to on Instagram, just like I did Twitter. And honestly, the trick that I do with Instagram is that the one thing that Instagram has that Twitter don't is that contact button. Like, this is the trick that I do with Instagram. And see, that's why I said, like, this is why I tell people, do not sleep on Instagram, because they still got cheat codes that you can really like access. Like, I'll say like this, for example, they have that contact button. They'll either have the phone number or the email. They have the email. You just got yourself what you really needed. That dude gonna have a million, dude or the chick, they gonna have a million DMs probably. Cool. They're not gonna have a million emails like that, but you just never know, because we haven't started working yet. But I recently contacted. There's an artist in my city that I want to work with, and he has management. So the way that I did it, his management's bio was on his Instagram. I went to his management's page. His management had the contact button, and the email was in there. So what I did was, instead of me trying to hit this guy in his DM, because he probably has a million people or whatever, or however many hitting his DM, I emailed him, I contacted him, and the way I approached it, because before I actually say this, when you email artists and or management, you can't just be saying, yo, I got beats, da da da, this, that, and the third, da da da. It does not work like that. So please don't let the first email be, yo, I got beats, da da da. Like, approach yourself in a proper way. Even if you're just saying, hey, my name is yada yada, I'm a producer, this and the third. Now, when I emailed him, I did that format. Like I said, I told him, I'm a producer, this, that, and the third. I'm actually from the same city as him, as the artist. And I told him, now I looked in his bio. I seen you were right there in the bio, and I found your email on your Instagram page. And what I said in the sentence after that is that I'm not sure if this is the proper email. And that's the one thing, like I said, they probably respected how I approached them instead of being hype about it. I said, I'm not sure if this is the proper email, but is this the email for me to, send beats to, for him? And he said, he hit me back 2 days later. So I'm pretty sure he had other emails that he had to, but he got my email. He hit me back 2 days later. He said, for sure, this is definitely the email. Like, I check out all the stuff, and, I send him the best stuff. I said, for sure. We're definitely gonna be talking. So, now I just put myself in a possible situation just off of how I approached it. And, like I said, this was off of Instagram, not even Twitter, because I really don't know if he has a Twitter or not, but I follow the artist on Instagram. So, that's how that situation worked out. So the one thing that I will give is that, like, Instagram, there probably is a propaganda with the algorithms, that I will say, but there are still cheat codes to that, just like Twitter, because Twitter is honestly the same way. Like, you still have to, it's more accessible. You definitely get more engagements, more followers, definitely more people but you still have to approach them the right way once you DM them, because that will really decipher whether it's going to go somewhere or not.
Yeah, definitely. We just got to use whatever we can, to just get heard. But yeah, IG is definitely still a staple, But it's just how Twitter is, it's like you said, there's much more engagement, there's much more like natural approach, and like there's much more chance to like get interaction with like so-called, like big names or like celebrities.
The search engine operator for Twitter is unbelievable. Like you search, like honestly, I wish I could remember who gave me this gem. I'm actually going to try to go through my Instagram while we're in this episode so I can actually give him credit. But he actually gave this gem in the group chat recently. If you search, like, okay, a lot of rappers be posting on Twitter that I'm looking for beats or send me beats or send beats to email, this, that, and the third. And I'm going to say it like this, producers, don't fall for all the hype. Because if you are trying to still somewhat get paid before you get the placement or whatever, make sure you send the snippets first, tagged up, whatever, make sure you label your stuff properly. Just because you're trying to get beats out and you're trying to get artists on your stuff doesn't mean that you have to rush into the process. But if you do go that route and you're definitely willing to do that, if you search up like send beats to or send me beats or looking for beats, there will be a thing of tweets that has those exact words in the tweet. And it will be so many rappers and stuff like doing that. If I really remember, like I said, I'm going to have to find the person who sent me the DM. I think it was my guy Skyark that gave me that sauce. But like I said, it definitely works. And even if you don't email them, you could follow them, go on their page. If they have a song posted that you like, repost it, like it. You never know. And that's the other thing. Like my opinion, producers, don't be one-sided about it. Don't just like and repost somebody's stuff just because you're trying to, get in their DMs. If you genuinely like something, post the shit. Repost it. Or put it in your stories or something. Do that shit.
Exactly. Just give off without expecting anything back, That's just how it is. Be genuine. That's the most important thing. Because if you give fake vibes, it's just not gonna happen. People are gonna sense that sooner or later. Not gonna last forever.
I'd rather just take a day off from Twitter now before I just go in somebody's post and act like I like their stuff. Like I'd rather just take a day off from Twitter and hold. You feel me? Like that's just how I am now. Like I'm not gonna post it if I don't fuck with it. Like you feel me? I'm not gonna post it just because I think, oh, I want to get this, that, and the third, yada yada. No, I don't. If I bang with it, then I bang with it. That's kind of my thing. Like that's the thing about me. Like I'm gonna keep it a hundo. Like regardless. Like me, and I'm very like blatant about it. But my thing is like, and FKI first definitely just talked about it in the producer grind interview, talking about just having the intentions, and doing things, because like when you have the wrong intentions, shit just don't work.
Yeah, exactly. You're having the wrong attention, you're attracting the wrong vibes, You're attracting the negativity towards you. That's not, you're not doing yourself any favor doing that. It's just not how it works. You got to attract, nice things, positive things,
Not even doing nice things. Like, well, okay, I'll say that to an extent. And this is probably one of the biggest gems I'm going to give on this episode. I would say back end is better than front end. And producers who know what I'm talking about, they know what I'm talking about when I say that, because I'm just learning this now. if you do some work off back end, meaning like, you find an artist that you really like, it could be one or two. Y'all do like a tape or an EP together, maybe one to two, this, that, and the third, like maybe good at 4 to 5, 6 projects. Don't matter if it's EPs, singles, whatever. It don't matter how y'all do it, but if y'all create a wave, create a sound, and people see that y'all doing this consistently, their followers and then other people that's coming along with that, they're going to see what y'all doing, and then somebody's going to have to come around at some point and be like, oh, like these guys waving, I gotta get with these guys, because that's how my situation worked. Once I signed my artist AB, when I signed him, and then we started doing a lot of stuff together, I started mixing and mastering all of his stuff. Then I started producing 75% of his catalog. Now it's like, people see what I'm doing with him, and it's like, oh, like they really, they really moving. You feel me?
Yeah, that's what we all need to do. Just find the artists we believe and just build together. Because, like I said, just being genuine is gonna help you a long way. Because people, they can sense if something's wrong sooner or later. They can get the vibes from it. If you're not genuine, if you're fake, they're just gonna distance. They're gonna cut you off. The best thing is to not just dick right around and, like you said, try to get noticed, going around liking posts, retweeting, reposting, just for the sake of catching their attention. you know the I mean, that's cool, but if you want it to be that way, I'm not such a person. I cannot mess with fake people. And that's the other thing, that lots of these people are just in it for the money. Like you said, back end is better than front end, but lots of these people, they don't realize it. They're just thinking for the quick 20, 50, 100, bucks, which they're gonna get from the eventual, sale when they secure it. But they don't think what could happen if you walk in with an artist, you build a sound together, and you know there's only good things awaiting for you when you do that. But lots of people don't realize that, and all these people who are in it for the just for the money, just for the quick buck, is just not gonna happen for them. And they realize it sooner or later, because you really need to love this and to have passion for it, to be able to build something. If you don't, it's just not gonna happen. That's my opinion.
I feel you on that for sure. So, we gonna get into like two more topics, and then we gonna be out this episode. But you know, all the propaganda that's like just running around, and you know, the one thing that I will tell producers is that, and the one thing that I feel like we both should give, because especially like, making your own lane, like just stick to that, because it's like, I've made my way, Danny made his, every other producer that y'all look up to, they all made their own lane, their own way. And if y'all watch the interviews, it don't matter if it's deconstruction or producer grind or anything, it don't matter like who it's from, like everybody paved a different way for themselves. And that's why you shouldn't really listen to the propaganda that producers spread every day, because a lot of the propaganda that the producers spread that y'all probably listen to, the majority of them probably doesn't have a creditable placement, or even if they do have a placement, like, what are you doing now? Or is like your brand going consistently? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm not trying to bash no producer specifically, but if you're just telling somebody that you can't do something, or that they can't pave their own lane and do this just because it didn't work for you, or you feel like it won't work for you, then that's just you know what I mean, that like I can't rock with that, because you know different producers, they tell me they going to do this, that, and the third every day, and I tell them, if that situation won't rock for you, do that. I'm definitely going to be paying attention. I've seen a lot of producers make their own lane. And they hit me back up. I said, damn, bro, like you really believed in me. I'm like, bro, I didn't have to believe in you, bro. You was right from the jump. You feel me?
Yeah, I think one name popped up in my mind now, which is a really clear example of what happens if you're not genuine and if you're not really about it. J.W. Lucas. I mean, we all seen what happened with him and how he got cancelled. You know, he got like they cut him off from like where was it, Universal Music or something? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure about the label situation, but like you said, we all seen what happened, and you know,
Yeah,
like I mean, the producer grind interview kind of hinted at it, and I kind of didn't pay attention to him after that, honestly, because you know, like
exactly.
I give somebody their credentials. You know, if you put in some work, I respect that as as a person that respects the craft. But as a person, you have your opinion, I have mine, and bygones is bygones. Like I can't really speak on some of the things he said because I don't agree with it. But I hope the situation works. I hope shit works out for him. Like I don't wish bad on anybody. Like that's the one thing. Like regardless of what's going on, like me, like I know what I'm doing. I know the lane that I'm going in. I know the path that I'm going down. The people who I'm with, the people that's rocking with me, like this, that, and the third. So like, I try not to really put that energy in there because it's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, like like I'm at a place where it's like I'm not gonna wish anything on anybody because I feel like you know,
Yeah.
like I
But
said, I was a closed minded person. You know, I was ignorant at a certain point too. So it's like I became open minded. I became still becoming a better person by day. But that's why I said like that's why I don't wish anything bad on anybody because anything you know
yeah, we're not wishing, but the thing is that bro, like what he done to himself, nobody else done. You know what I mean? Like he done
we
it to himself.
we all we all make choices and
Yeah,
like some like and trust me every single person in this world has things that they shouldn't say that they say. Some things are just meant to be kept to yourself. You feel me?
yeah, yeah. Just sooner or later, it just pops off, and apparently, like there's other situations where he kind of stiffed people from credits and whatnot. At least, of course, I don't know if that's 100% true or whatever, but like you said, like he can be the best producer in the world and his music can be you know like the best, but if he's a person which you don't mess with, that's just how it is. That's just how it is, simple as that. He can be the best at what he does, but if he's not if he's not relatable, if he's not likable, that's not gonna help his case.
That's why the number one gem I'm gonna give y'all before before we out. Character will always be greater than content.
Yeah, that's true.
Character will always be greater than content. Anybody can put out content. What's the character behind it? Who's the person behind it? Character
Yeah,
will
you gotta
always
touch and
character
face.
will always be content. Because if you have good character, you're gonna win every time.
Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta touch a personality. You gotta touch, character. You gotta touch face to your brand. You gotta touch, what you stand for. You gotta touch your own principles. Your own morals. What you stand for. You know, because that's your brand. After all, it stands, for yourself. That's just how I believe it should be.
For sure. Like for me, like I said, like people be asking me like, bro, you've been making all these moves, you've been doing all this, that, and the third. Like you know, dropping the single, you did Skyscrapers, and like I said, I did off that just off character because like, you know, I wasn't like, I'm not saying that I'm doing shit free, but I just haven't really been worried about selling beats, putting shit in the beat store, and like just sending links out to people and all that stuff. Like I really been focused on like actually talking to people, actually networking with people, actually getting to see their side of their career and how they doing things, so then I can figure out how I can play a part in that situation. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah. It's just, you know, making plays, you know, getting the best of what you have, and you know, just being a human being and treat others with respect. You know, you just don't treat them like a walking bag. Just treat them like normal human beings. You know, not as like, you know, customers, because that approach is not gonna, it's not gonna help you. It's not gonna do you any good at all.
Well, last thing I'm gonna say, and you know, I definitely appreciate having you on here, but what has Trapped Out Danny got planned, you know, for the rest of the year and going into 2021?
Well, the plan is I'm kind of in a situation now. I decided to leave my job. I work as administrator in like a fruit distribution company, so I kind of got sick of the whole stuff going around there. You know, basically people not giving me what I'm worth. You know, so I decided to leave. So I'm gonna have some time off from that. You know, just keep on doing the usual music. You know, keeping the grind up, and I'm gonna try to figure out, you know, what's gonna be my next move. Whether, you know, whether I wanna try out, you know, doing something on my own, or whether I wanna get a job, you know, to support on the hustle. Because at this point, I'm really dedicated to, you know, um, working on music as much as possible and actually letting the job support it, you know, not vice versa. You know what I mean? It's like, because I realized after all these years, you know, working for other people, you know, you're not being appreciated as much as, you know, if you do something on your own, like something which you're gonna make a living, which you love and which you have passion for, which is music. So um, I'm just gonna keep the grind on, you know, um, just be positive, look for artists to build together with. No, I'm still trying to find artists which are gonna fit my sound, you know, and we can make some projects together. We can make some music together, and I'm just gonna keep networking with people, working with as much people as possible as well. I constantly, you know, give like call outs to producers, artists. You know, I'm open to collaborations all the time. You know, we're gonna get it together. You know, we're gonna eat together. You know, we got to support each other, because, you know, nobody else from this industry is gonna do anything for us. So we got to, you know, we got to be together. We got to support each other on, you know, because all of us, we're all part of our journey. You know, we're like, whether it's one, two, or five, or 10 people, we don't realize it, you know, but we're part of each other's journey, and we're all playing a role. It might be big, it might be small. Like you said, you never know. You never know what's gonna happen ahead. So, you know, just keep working hard, just staying consistent, and just hope for the best.
For sure, man. And you know, I definitely see the placements coming for you. I definitely see, you know, I see a lot coming for you, and you know, I'm proud of the work that you've been putting in so far. You know, proud that you can't, you know, your upbringing in music. You know, I'm proud to hear that. You know, like your ear for music is just unbelievable, bro. Like in my opinion, and you know, it's definitely been an honor interviewing you, especially for the fan appreciation episode, because you know, like I said, it was no propaganda. This was just an episode that I just wanted to give love to everybody and all that, and just like, we have a good conversation to drop some gems on them. And I really appreciate you, taking the time out through the late night, because I know it's like 5 hours ahead over there where y'all
Yeah,
at. So I know it's hella late on that side. So I appreciate you. If anybody want, follow my guy, make sure you follow him at TrappedOutDanny. TARPPED. Out Danny. No space, no underscore, no none of that. And make sure rappers don't keep sleeping on this guy. Because if
they keep sleeping.
y'all keep sleeping on this guy, I'm gonna tell you, when that
We're
bag
gonna
go
check
up,
on you, bro.
when that bag go up, y'all gonna be upset. When that bag go up, y'all gonna be upset for sure.
You already know, bro. You already know what's coming. I really appreciate you for having me here as well. I really appreciate you for, working with the movement, working with what I do, because it really means a lot to me.
Of
It
course,
really
bro.
does.
I'm just trying to make it happen I'm just trying to make it happen for people out here, man. I feel like those who really do want it, they deserve that opportunity. That's what that's the academy is going to be for. But I can't, like I told the fans, I can't give too much sauce on the academy yet. You feel me?
They're gonna hear it soon, bro. No worries.
For sure,
They're
for
gonna
sure.
hear about it soon.
But I'm gonna definitely catch up with you tomorrow, bro. Keep cooking up, bro, and just stay double downing on that work, man, because you're gonna be at a point where you ain't even gonna have to work a job. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing, bro. That's the thing. Just keep cooking up all day, make music with like-minded, positive people. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing for sure.
Yep. Well,
Sure.
bro, I'm going to say, man, it was great having you. Let Me Rap With You podcast. Your host, 215 God Beats, Trapped Out Danny, and we out.
Yeah, thank you very much, bro. Appreciate it.
All right, bro.
Yeah, peace out. Take care.